Welcome to another episode of G Block's Go Deeper podcast series. My name is Sheila. I am the community and program director here at G Block, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Raza Jafri, who is a global entrepreneur, investor, and speaker who founded and leads MetaWorldX, a world-class digital twin technology company that creates immersive and realistic simulations of urban environments for smart cities, clean tech, and other sectors. He launched MetaWorldX at the World Smart City Congress in Barcelona, Spain, and received the Top 40 Under 40 Sustainability Star Award for 2023 for his innovative and impactful work. He has a passion for social impact and human-centric values and loves motivating next-gen entrepreneurs. Welcome, Raza.
Welcome to you. Thank you for having me here. We're
my
all in the metaverse right now.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'm so glad to have you. So let's dive in. I'll start with the first question we ask all our guests. Tell us your why. What was what do you consider to be your purpose, your mission, in the world, and if you could elaborate on any experiences that have really shaped that for you, that would be
Yeah,
great.
it's such an amazing question because I literally just turned 40 a couple of weeks ago, and I something hit me. For the first couple of decades of my life, I was just trying to figure out. I always knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know how am I going to help them. What am I going to do? I needed to help myself before I could help someone else. I'm getting now into the phase of my life where I'm starting to understand where I believe I can help. Where I belong. um, and it's not just through what you do through your career. That's a huge part of it, but it's what you live and breathe every single day when you wake up, your ultimate purpose. And it
Mm,
has to be altruistic. It has to be something higher than yourself, bigger than yourself. And for me, my why is I want to leave this world making a huge impact. When it comes to sustainability, increasing the quality of life for the inhabitants of this world, especially with climate change, with poverty, and like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of individuals on this planet who lose their parents at a very young age, orphans, and if we can give them an opportunity, you don't know what's possible for them, but someone should be giving them the opportunity. So my why revolves around major social impact for sure.
Amazing. We need more people in this world who care about creating that kind of impact. So I really appreciate that. And I'm also very much aligned with you. Purpose is not just extrinsic, it's intrinsic. It's something that someone can't take away from you. And it's kind of, who are you when no one's looking, right? And I think that's really powerful. So what is one big idea you wish to bring to the world and why? What do you hope happens as a result of that?
Wow, one big idea I hope to bring to the world. the what I really, really want to bring to this world, and hopefully, you know, allow next generation to build upon that, would be the ability to really understand the concept and purpose behind giving back. So
Mhm.
when a lot of people talking about, oh, pay it forward, give back, but we don't actually understand the tangible aspects of that, or the potential that it can have for decades and generations. So I want to leave this world behind with allowing tens of thousands of youth, to give them the ability to dream and to
Mhm.
unlock their goals. So
Mhm.
for professionals to come together, with shared interests is very important, because
Mhm.
you can come up with new ideas and stuff, but those ideas are being incubated, and then something gets created. But if you're not sharing your failures with the youth, with
Mhm.
young professionals, and with students, you're
Mhm.
not really teaching them. You're
Mhm.
teaching them about how something is done, but you're not teaching about all the roadblocks that you faced in order to get to that point. And
Yeah.
I think that is something I want people to emphasize more on, to be, we have to put our egos aside. We have to think about, you know, our journey was not perfect. Nobody's is.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
the imperfections that make the journey even more empowering and builds your character. So it's important to be able to comfortably discuss that openly, freely, without any prejudice. And I want people, especially young people, to really learn from that. It's not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength to be able to share your failures.
100%. And I think challenge is inevitable. And I think more and more, I'm appreciating how much it really is about the journey and who you become through the challenges you face, because there's no evolution without challenge. And so being able to embrace failure is such a big part of your growth. Um, and so, yeah, I really align with that and appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah,
Um, so, and I just want to kind of uh, ask, so in terms of like working with youth, how do you like, is that something you're actively doing and you know talking about with them?
it is, but definitely not, never enough. So I first of all, on a personal level, I get calls and messages from youth. They've heard me speak at their universities or at career fairs and stuff. So
Hmm.
they reach out to me and they're like, okay, I'm stuck here, or can you connect me to this person? I love that because I wish I did more of that when I was younger. Just called people or just reached out to them. You don't know how many people are willing to help you. You just have to
Mm,
take that step, right?
yeah.
And then when I speak at universities, so first of all, aside from my day job and my career, what I
Hmm.
truly love doing is connecting and speaking to people.
Hmm.
That's another reason why I love traveling so much, because it's a medium. It gives me an opportunity to hear from other people, to speak to them, to learn a new
Yeah.
language, and to really appreciate all the blessings that we have. For example, living in Canada or North America, especially
Yeah.
when you travel. So, with the youth and in universities, when you're communicating with students, it's really important to understand that there's a lot of fear, right? Like, will I be able
Hmm.
to get a job? Will I be
Yeah.
able, am I studying in the right program? Right?
Hmm.
We've
Hmm.
all been there. And the ones that struggle with, communicating how they feel about that, that is something that we should be able to, overcome. We should be able
Hmm.
to have workshops for students and youth that talk about our professional journeys, where like this is you may meet someone and they're Dr. So and so, but they started in finance, right?
Right.
So it's really important to understand that what you see, at face value, there's a whole story behind that. And
Yeah.
if professionals can find more times and more mediums to communicate their story, not just with each other, but with the next generation, that is a very, very solid way of paving the way forward for the next generation.
100%. And it's really interesting. We're just on the precipice of launching our we're launching a mutual mentorship program where the idea is we can all learn from each other and we can all teach each other. And I think, you know, one of the gifts of working with young people is like you get to, it's funny that I'm saying that. I think I'm still young, but of like younger people, is you really get to expand your thinking and you get to start thinking in a very different way. Um, and I think it just broadens your world. So it's yeah, there's the altruistic side of just like the desire to give back. But I also think there's something that we also receive from connecting with younger people as well. And we get to grow and we get to expand as well. So
Absolutely.
I love that.
And Sheila, we are all young because we're all um, refreshing our knowledge. And as long
Mm,
as we're constantly having these knowledge refreshments, our mind is constantly growing. and
100%.
that hunger and that excitement for knowledge is what you consider youth.
I love that. I'm going to take that. Um, so let's talk about some of our G Block pillars. So in G Block, we say that our pillars are connection, community, and contribution. So I'd love to offer some questions and get some reflections from you on that. Um, so what are some of your favorite questions to ask when getting to know someone and why?
When getting to know someone, it's important I understand, you know, what their goals are in terms of like what if they could have a magic wand, what will they be doing or working on tomorrow that excites them, right?
Hmm.
And then work backwards. Okay, what are the
Hmm.
micro habits you're doing to get there?
Right.
Or getting to know what their drivers are. For a lot of people, they may say it's money, but when you get to know them, you realize it's a lot more than that.
Hmm.
With this money, I'll be able to pay off, you know, my grandmother's mortgage and help her, or with this money, I'll be able to start a charity. And there's so much of that we just don't even get to dive deep into. If we had better communication tools and better mediums for professionals to engage with each other, we would
Hmm.
understand that behind all of these, drivers, there's sub drivers,
Yeah.
and those are much more. We have a lot more in common than we think,
Yeah.
and that's where innovation and community and working together can really happen.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. It's interesting. I asked this question because questions really shape the types of questions you ask, really shape the types of conversations you have, which really shapes the types of connections you have. So I absolutely love that question. And really excavating for subdrivers. I think that's also a beautiful way to create meaningful connection. Um, so how do you choose who you actively build a professional relationship with? Or even a personal one? Like what's important to you in terms of choosing who you engage with and stay connected with?
Yeah, so it kind of goes into the last question as well. It's like what's important, right? So when you meet someone, I think everything starts with intention. If the intention is for inner growth, when you're meeting someone for the first time and you're seeing how your values align or how you can work together in a professional setting, for example, it's important to understand what is my ultimate goal, what's my intention for this relationship or for this conversation. Um, and that requires a lot of maturity, meaning sometimes we have to reduce the noise in the back of our head or the biases. So
Hmm.
if I meet you for the first time and I ask you a question, where are you from? Am I genuinely trying to make a connection with you, or am I trying to create biases on why I don't want to make a connection with you, or I want to
Ah,
put you in a
that's
box?
interesting.
So it's
Mm,
important to first understand that what's my intention, and having an open heart. An open heart creates a level playing field, which will allow us to learn from each other. And when you can learn from
mhm,
each other, that's where the yin and yang is. Not everyone
mhm.
is alike. Not everyone's characteristics or leadership style or workmanship is exactly the same. And
Yeah.
that's what makes teams dynamic and flexible and versatile. And
Mhm,
this is what you need when you're putting together a team, whether it's an advisory board, whether it's your company or your executive team,
mhm,
or your operations. It's really important to understand, okay, what is my ultimate goal? Am I here to judge someone? What am I
mhm,
getting out of that? Am I just trying to praise myself and make myself feel better about this, or am I genuinely here to learn about someone and see how we can help each other? Because
mhm.
relationships don't work if it's a one-way street. It
Right.
can't. There's always a two-way. You're both learning from each other and you're both growing. And
Mhm,
this is why I believe in the bottom up approach. Leaders are there to support their team and help them grow. Just like a tree, the root is very important. It's what you
yeah.
feed the root, the thoughts, the ideas that help determine the strength of the tree that's going to come out.
Mm, I love that metaphor. Thank you for sharing that. Um, yeah, I think Simon Sinek shares about leading from behind. Um, and so that's
So,
really aligned.
yep.
Yeah, I love that. So in terms of community, what kinds of communities are you engaged with actively?
So many academic communities. So I did my first of all, I did my undergrad at Concordia University in Montreal, and then I did my executive MBA at Queen's. And because they're both great universities, I'm still very connected as an alumni, and I feel it's important to keep that connection. Because of the academic connection now, I actually speak at a lot of universities. So I'm speaking at
Hmm.
American University in Dubai. I spoke at Abu Dhabi University, and then École Supérieure in Montreal in October. So the point is that if you understand the value of academia, it's critical to your growth, because a lot of the testing happens at that junction where students are learning about the real world, and
Hmm.
professors are teaching them from real world companies and opportunities that are happening. That
Right.
inflection point is very important for entrepreneurs to be connected to, because that's where you gain the greatest insight on what's happening and what's about to happen. So those type of communities. Then definitely from a professional standpoint, it's important for entrepreneurs like myself to be part of communities like G Block. And over here in Toronto, we have a lot of board of trades. We're part of the Richmond Hill Board of Trade. I think that it's important for entrepreneurs to stay on the pulse of what's going on where they're located. Even though, for example, my company is global, we are still an Ontario company. We're headquartered
Hmm.
here. It's important for us to stay on the pulse of what's going on here and help shaping our communities, because it's very important to, even though you're thinking global, you have to keep building your company locally, and that means relationships. So your professional relationships and your community relationships at a local level are critical. And lastly, sports for me. I've always played sports growing up. I'm a big hockey fan, and I still play hockey, whether it's ball hockey, ice hockey, and I feel like it keeps me active. It keeps me, excited to look forward to the weekend, because that's when I get to play, and it allows me to get away from work. So
Yeah.
having that kind of community is important, that doesn't even know who you are. They don't know what you do. They could care less. They just want
Yeah.
to see if you can score a goal, and if you can block a shot, right? So it's so important to have like a to be part of diverse communities like that, because it helps shape you, helps you feel that if things may not be going great in a certain aspect of your life, you get to unplug, and
Yeah.
life's all about balance, right? So I believe in being part of various sports and activities, and meet with people from different walks of life. So yeah.
Wicked. And a final question. Can you tell us your favorite story of creating impact for someone in your life or through your work?
Sure. So uh, August 5th, 2013,
Hmm.
I was working in Markham. I was using AutoCAD. I was designing buildings. I was happy. I was getting to use my skills as an urban planner. I was newly married, and then a tragedy happened. I got a message saying a childhood friend passed away, and then I opened the news. It was all over the internet, and he was walking to work, and a 2-ton steel plate crushed him to death, and that accident could have been avoided. It was a construction accident, but it uh, it made me realize never get comfortable, because even though I was starting to get comfortable in my life, uh, you know, And it made me realize that, wait, like, what are you actually building? What are you actually doing? What's your purpose? So I realized I needed to refine my skills. I needed to do something, and I wanted to build something.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to take architecture, engineering, and planning and make it proactive rather than reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that tragedy was the was the starting point, was the push for me that made me go back to school, do my master's, and come out and start on my tech entrepreneurial journey. When it comes to being an entrepreneur, I think the first business transaction I did was, I was 5 years old and I lost my tooth, and I knew my parents only give $2 as a tooth fairy.
Mm-hmm.
So at school, I sold it for $5. So
Nice.
I guess I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, but it wasn't until that point that I realized that I really needed to take it seriously and build something that can hopefully save lives.
Mm, that's beautiful. It's so powerful how often sometimes our deepest pain can translate into our greatest purpose. And so that yeah, it's really powerful that you took something that was really challenging and created something that is a contribution now for so many people. So
Yeah, absolutely. I love that because I realize that you don't have to fight yourself into pain. You just have to fight yourself through the pain.
yes,
And when you can get through it and you look back, something's changed. You became stronger.
yeah.
And that's it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for offering your time and your insights and your shares. This was a really meaningful podcast interview. And yeah, thank you so much. We look forward to sharing this with our community.
Thank you so much to the whole community. And thank you, Sheila, for being an amazing host. Take care.